agents and other very essential services. We'll be speaking with the president of the Trade Union Congress, TUC, Quadri Olaleye. He joins us via Skype here in Abuja. Mr. Quadri is already standing by, as you can see on your screen. But before we begin our conversation, we'll take a quick break to return shortly. Stay.
Humanity is endangered by the coronavirus or the COVID-19, a disease with symptoms such as coughing, sneezing, or difficulty in breathing.
Hundreds of thousands have been infected around the world, and the numbers keep rising.
Tens of thousands have died around the world, and more are dying.
In Nigeria, the figure of those infected is expected to rise.
But you can stop the spread of coronavirus by taking the following simple steps.
Wash your hands with soap very regularly for at least 20 seconds, or you could use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
Totally avoid touching your face, eyes, nose, and mouth.
If you cough, cover your mouth with a disposable tissue or bend your arm by the elbow to cover it.
Do not share personal items such as utensils, towels, and food.
Avoid crowded places, maintain social distance, and obey the government's stay-at-home directives if you are not on essential services.
And if you have come in contact with a suspected case, isolate yourself in order to protect your friends, family, and the general public.
Coronavirus is not
a death sentence.
Let us all help to stop the spread.
All right, thank you so much for still staying there. Yes, today is May Day, also known as International Workers' Day, and we shall be looking at the impact of COVID-19 on workers in Nigeria, their welfare and vulnerability of those at the front line, such as health workers, journalists, security agents, and other essential service workers. And to do that, we do have joining us via Skype from Abuja, the President of Trade Union Congress, Quadri Olaleye. Good morning, comrade, and good to have you join us.
Good morning. I'm happy to be with you.
Great. Thank you for being here. Comrade, let's begin with the celebration of May Day this year. Of course, across the globe, all the usual activities are suspended. In Nigeria, we'll usually see marches, here in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, in the States, we'll see people, workers celebrated, and then some kind of, some kind of policy review will be asked for every now and then whenever May Day is celebrated. This year is different. Tell me, from your own perspective, how has COVID-19 affected the celebration?
Yeah, I want to borrow a statement that the only thing that is constant in life is change. And we as the labor union, we always embrace change whenever it comes. COVID-19 has come with a very difficult situation, but notwithstanding, because Nigerian workers want to be celebrating, especially at the right time, which is Workers' Day, May 1st. So we need to celebrate the workers, especially people at the front line, the health workers, including you, the media, then the security agents. So it's an opportunity for us to celebrate them. And that is why we feel that no matter the situation, we still have to celebrate our Workers' Day. And that is why we have changed our method. The only thing that will be missing here is the crowd. The people that will be felicitating with us at the Eagle Square in Abuja or in all the states will not be there. But we have organized our May Day celebration on Zoom and also on Facebook and some other methods. People are allowed to log in, to congratulate us and to send their messages. And also we are going to review policies on those avenues. Our statement have been sent out on the media. I know I've seen more than 3 newspapers that carry TUC statement this morning. So we still have the opportunity of celebrating and reviewing policies and also passing our message to government. The only thing we are missing is that we cannot converge together as it used to be. But as workers, we embrace change.
I was going to ask you how Labour intends to celebrate the International Workers' Day online, but you gave a bit of how it intends to do that. Now, what do we need to know? I mean, how do you think you can celebrate these, mark this day to have far-reaching impact on members of the TUC, members of NLC, and the generality of workers in Nigeria via online, for instance?
Yeah, the message for today's celebration, which is very clear to everybody, is COVID-19 economic recovery. And workers is all about the economy. We are the one moving the economy. So, and that is the theme of this year's celebration. So, and we have also sent a statement to government, just the normal way that we discuss. We've been discussing with them that what is going to happen now that the lockdown have been relaxed. So what is going to happen to jobs? Because by TUC statistics, we have it that not less than 60% of Nigerian workers will be losing their job. And it's the responsibility of government to protect those jobs. So the purpose of this May Day is to make sure that we collaborate with government and other organizations like the Employers Association, the NECA, and the Manufacturers Association, to see how we can collaborate, to bring the new humanity in us, to feel pity for each other. Employers should pity workers, workers also should pity employers, to make sure that we reduce the impact of this COVID-19 on Nigerian economy and Nigerian workers at large.
I want to ask, in the papers today, particularly New Telegraph, we found that 113 health workers have been infected by the coronavirus pandemic, and 113 of them are in isolation. As you celebrate today, what are you doing, either to reach out or to, further see how to make the situation better for workers who are on the front line of this COVID-19 pandemic?
Now, the first effect this COVID-19 have on the frontline workers, as the health workers, number one, we have to look at the psychological effects. And secondly, we have to look at the equipment, the protective equipment. we've been discussing with government to make sure that they have enough protective equipment for the health workers. They should be our priorities because they are putting their life on the line to save the life of others. Now that we have some health workers that have also been infected with COVID-19, so it's the responsibility of government to make sure they take care of them. We have been discussing using the means of Minister of Labour to discuss with government to see how we can protect their interests, especially their family. So we are working with government on that.
All right. How would you, for instance, evaluate the protection of workers during this period of COVID-19, especially the health workers, just as Senami asked earlier, journalists and security personnel on the front line of the battle against this pandemic? How would you evaluate it? Because we have seen the PTF talk about the need to increase the number of protective gears for health workers across the country. What's your basic evaluation of how workers on the front line of COVID-19 are protected?
The first thing we have to do is to make sure that we balance their psychological emotions. So government need a lot of people, or government need to be educating them on the importance of saving the country and what is going to be the aftermath. And that is why we have been asking for some allowances for the frontliners. We are talking about the hazard allowance and life assurance. And I think that should be extended to other frontliners apart from the health workers that are the major ones. So other people like the security agents and the media also should be considered in those things so that they can boost their courage to be able to perform their duties.
You said earlier that this is the time for our humanities to be seeing, our human faces to be brighter than it has ever been, that workers should pity employers, employers should also pity workers. How then would you respond to some governors who have said that the state cannot pay the consequential adjustment of the new minimum wage due to the impact of the COVID-19? An example is Taraba State.
Well, I'm hearing that information for the first time. What I have on my table is that some states are negotiating to reduce some percentage from workers' salary after applying.
Comrade, that is another issue. But this particular one, in fact, that was why we asked earlier about the evaluation of the protection and perhaps welfare of workers at the front line. We understand that there are states who intend to, or who have moved to cut salaries by between 25 to 50%, to be able to fight COVID-19 in their various states. But it's this particular issue where, the government has said that it will not be able to pay the consequential adjustment of the minimum wage as a result of the impact of COVID-19 on the economy. What is TUC finding out about these issues?
I think leadership by example will be the best principle. Before a state governor can claim that he cannot pay minimum wage as a result of COVID-19, then the state governor also should be able to shave his own expenses too. But all of them still go with their expenses. We have not seen any state governor coming out to say 50% of his salary or his allowances. I know their allowances are more than the salary. So they should tell us what percentage of their allowances are they going to reduce and what percentage of their salaries. So leadership by example, let them lead the talk. They cannot cut workers' salary entitlement. TUC will vote.
All right. There are so many issues arising from this. Of course, you know that a lot of state governments, are asking the federal government to not ignore their states, to send them funds to battle COVID-19. They need more money. This money is also asking for more money also means that they too, the states, will have to spend a few more of their revenues in preparing for the outbreak of coronavirus in their states. There's also something I want you to react to. Some states, such as Kaduna State, which has, for instance, moved to cut the salaries of civil servants and political appointees by between 25 and 50% to support the battle against COVID-19. If we expect the government to do everything that they can, is this a way of also asking the workers to, sacrifice something for the country?
Yeah, we are not saying workers should not sacrifice something, because we are in this together, and it requires joint effort. But what we are saying is that the fund they have received so far, they have not been able to account for it.
Which funds?
Let's talk about the issue of palliative that they were distributing, despite the fact that we're seeing videos, pictures of distribution, but we don't know people that are collecting this. So they need to account. They need to account for what they have collected, either from federal government or individual donors. They will not tell us what they need more. Then they can now discuss with workers what percentage will come from workers. But at this time, I don't think it's necessary to punish any workers at this period, because why? We are doing some of the things that government is supposed to be doing. We are giving palliative to our families and our friends, people living around us. With our little salary, we are giving palliative to them. Where they cannot reach, we are the one reaching there. So it is not the best time for government to think of taking part of the salary. They need to account for what they have collected so far, either from federal government or from individual donors.
Now, what opportunities do you think that COVID-19 presents for Nigerian workers to enhance work efficiency and capacity? Because we saw the president during his speech talk about the need for phased resumption by workers in the civil service, for instance, where senior civil servants will resume on Monday, from Monday, and they will be working for 3 days in a week. What lessons are workers learning from the COVID-19 in terms of enhancing their efficiency and capacity?
Yeah, efficiency is all about Nigerian workers. We are hardworking people. At any point in time, we are ready to give our best. I am telling you, if governments or employers of labor motivate Nigerian workers very well, whatever we have lost in the past are going to be recovered, because we are hardworking people. And immediately we resume, I know people are going to put in their best to reduce the impact of the lockdown on whichever company they are working for. So that has been discussed at our level, and it's going to be part of what we are going to discuss today in our May Day celebration online.
I would also like to know how, what's your response to the gradual easing? There are people who believe that it's not time to ease the lockdown just yet. There are people who think that, we should consider lives before we consider the economy. While this also has its effect on individuals, on the economy, and practically on everyone. What's your own take? Do you, as TUC, do you think it's actually time for workers to go back to work?
Yeah, I want to agree with them, but on some conditions.
Okay.
All of us know government cannot fill the population, and the majority of us live on our earnings. And without work, we cannot earn our salaries. Let's talk about organized private sectors. We have some of the organized private sectors who have even threatened or have even reduced the salary of their workers. Why? Because there are no activities in the company. So if we continue to be under lockdown, how do you want these people to earn their salaries? Without mentioning names, but at least let's mention the popular ones. Lagos Airport Hotel send workers on 3 months leave without pay. How do you want the workers to earn their living if the lockdown is not relaxed? Adik Air have also threatened to lay down 90% of their workers. So I pity for these workers. How do you want them to earn their living? Then let's talk of unorganized private sector, the SMEs and the rest, who earn their living on daily basis. And the government cannot cater for them. We are talking of palliative, that people have not seen the palliative where they are supposed to. We are talking of the most vulnerable ones. They have not received the palliative. And so, because of that, we cannot continue with the lockdown. So I want to salute the courage of government, since they know their situation, to relax that lockdown and let everybody struggle to end their living with the rules and regulations they have put in place.
So, but do you have concerns about the spread of the virus then? If you believe that it's time for workers to go back to work and you agree with the gradual easing of the lockdown, how then should workers be protecting themselves when they go out there?
Yes, we have been educating our members. One of the things we told them is that we have guiding rules that before you must work in an environment, you must ensure those parameters are met. Number one is that your organization must provide protective equipment, which includes nose cover and sanitizers everywhere. Then when you feel that the working environment is not safe enough for you to work, then you must report to the union immediately or report to the appropriate authority. Then if any members of staff of any organization feel sick, you don't need to go to work. What you need to do is to call your organization and call your union that you feel you're having social symptoms, and based on that, you are not going to be at work. It is the responsibility of employers also to show pity on that workers by paying the required money at the right time. Not only that, and monitor the health of the workers so that we don't continue to spread COVID-19. So we encourage all workers that if you must go to work, make sure you use your nose cover and keep social distance. Even at production line, they must ensure that they keep social distance. With that, I think we are good to go in relaxing the lockdown.
Now, the International Labour Organization, an arm of the United Nations, have said that about 1.6 billion people employed in the informal sector risk losing their jobs and means of livelihood. And another 430 million enterprises will be hard hit, as a result of the COVID-19. What will be your advice to organizations who have been affected